Okay, so every once in a while, people come and ask me if I know of any good BMW E39s for sale. So in today's video, you want to stay tuned to the end because I am showing you exactly that. And this particular unit that I'm showing you here, well, it's no M5, but it does have a unique selling point to it, which I would reveal to you later in the video. On the surface, this looks like every other M Sport E39 out there. Okay, so how do you differentiate between an M5 and an E39 M Sport? Because with the E39 there is no flat wheel arches or whatnot. The body panels of a regular E39 versus an E39 M5 is exactly the same. This particular unit, the side mirrors have been converted to M5 side mirrors. The standard E39 side mirrors are squarish. Okay, but one telltale is this T-bar down here. This T-bar is only present in regular E39s with the M Sport trim. With the M5, it's just a normal black grille. That's it. Okay, but everything else is exactly the same. So this particular unit of the E39 is a 1999 523i, and that is where I have to preface a bit. So as we all know, back in the days, the second and third digit of a BMW model always denotes the car's engine capacity. But with the 523i, there was never a 523i with a 2.3 liter engine. The 523i here, in the case of the E39, actually has a 2.5 liter engine. But why call it a 523i? Why not call it a 525i? You see, this goes back to the time of the E34. With the E34, the M50 engine, 525i, produced nearly 190 horsepower. Then with the E39 using the M52 engine, the 2.5 liter made 170 horsepower. If you want 190 horsepower from your E39, you have to go for the 2.8 liter 528i. So the M52 engine family, in terms of outputs, are a little detuned compared to the M50 engine that came before it. That's why for the 2.5 liter engine, they badged it as a 523i, because if you compare this with the E34 525i, it actually makes less power. Okay, the E39 525i only came out in 2001 when they facelifted it, changed it to the M54 engine, right? That made 192 horsepower from a 2.5 liter engine. That's when BMW reinstated the 525i badge. But even then, the story does not end there yet. So you see, with the E39 engines, right, there are three phases. Initially, there was the M52. This guy here, a 99 model, actually has what we call the M52 TU, technical update. So the M52 engine had single one-offs. M52 TU had double one-offs. So it gives better fuel efficiency, better mid-range torque, but the performance numbers are the same. So whether your 523i is a single one-offs or a double one-offs like this, it's still 170 horsepower. In our market, based on what I've seen, the most common engine of the E39 in our market is the 523i double one-offs, M52 TU. That's the most common numbers that I've seen. All right, so let's bring you on a walk around of this car. This car is full M Sport trim. Now, 17-inch style 66 wheels. This set of wheels did not come with the car. This was installed by the current owner. Previously, this car was on some 18-inch replicas, so I advised the owner just get a set of original M Sport wheels. And yeah, so you got this style 66, and you notice that the front sits rather low. Why is that? Because to bring you closer, you can see the absorbers are yellow color. It's sitting on Bilstein V8s. I'm not sure what springs they are, but I'll bring this car over to either Mike or Tana to have it jacked up and have the suspension inspected more closely. Okay, so the wheels, style 66, and it's very specific. I've advised when he changed it to change both front and rear same size. You see, with the E39, the factory recommended size, if you pair it with 17-inch wheels for tires, is either 235/45 all round or 235/45 front and 255/40 at the rear. Now, whether or not this car is an original M Sport or convert, I can't say for sure. See, typically an original M Sport car, these door frames would have been black. This unit here, the door frames are chrome. But everything else in this car, as I will show you later, is proper M Sport stuff. Now, this being a 1999 car, these are not the taillights that came with the car. This car was converted to have the facelift tail lamps. I can't say for other markets. In Malaysia, majority of the E39s, especially those with the M52 TU engines, their lights, front and rear, are all converted to the facelift design. Most people like the facelift look, right? But the thing is this, when you check out a car that left the factory as a pre-facelift and they're now wearing facelift taillights, you better check very closely the gap here. Why? Because the facelift and pre-facelift taillights, they are physically different. For the facelift taillight to fit, you actually have to do wiring modifications, you actually have to do bodywork modifications. So if that bodywork modification is not done properly, the lights don't sit properly, and it may actually result in water leaking into the boot. So let's inspect this car. Now, this one here has an aftermarket reverse camera. Okay, wow, got this. Sound systems are more play. Now, this is the taillight from the inside. And how do you tell that it is a convert? So you can see this hole here, right? See this wiring? This wire? Okay, if this was an original E39 facelift that came with the factory tail lights, this would have been just one wire here instead of two. Here's where it gets a bit more complicated. In the pre-facelift tail lights, this section here is bulb. Here is LED. So the voltage that goes into it is different. Okay, and what you need in order for these facelift taillights to work on a pre-facelift car, you need this. You need this wiring ballast in order to connect the car's factory wiring into this, okay, so that it outputs the correct voltage back into the taillights. When I help people check scope a pre-facelift E39 that is converted to facelift lights, I always look out where they pasang that ballast. Okay, now let's look back at the front again. Now this is particularly interesting. So as I said earlier, right, these headlights are probably not the ones that came with the car, okay, but they're xenons. Okay, and you can see here there is the headlight washer here that is only present for cars with xenon headlamps. Now these tell me two possibilities. One, if this car came from the factory with xenon headlights, or if one of the previous owners did a full M Sport conversion, okay, and the headlights, the bumper came from the same half cut. Okay, it means that what this suggests to me is that this car either came as an original M Sport from the factory or converted to M Sport using one proper half cut, okay, that was probably brought from Japan or the UK. If it's and I would say that if this car was a convert rather than an original M Sport, it's a very thorough one. Why? Because these Alcantara seats, they are original M Sport spec. And notice that the door cards match the seats. The roof lining is grey. So typically M Sport spec, the roof lining is black, but there's nothing to say that an M Sport car cannot have grey roof lining either. Okay, so I don't see that as a thing. But so what this suggests to me is that this car was is either really an original M Sport, or it is a very thoroughly done conversion. Okay, you can see here the front door cards, the trims, they all match. The door card trim, inserts, everything all match in one uniform appearance. Typically, a lot of people when they try to convert in the cheap way, right? There will be some trim panels, there will be some door inserts that don't match. This one, everything matches. Everything matches. Got AC Schneider pedals here. M Sport steering. This is a Sony player, not my thing. And what I would say is that I would typically advise you can go and get one of those Android head units that's available on Shopee or Lazada. Extron is the brand I would recommend. Install that. That actually gives it a much more factory appearance. Okay, this one, wow, really tak boleh. But then again, what I would be very wary about, okay, is that I suspect that behind this there may have been cutting and joining of wires in order for this head unit to work. Okay, the Extron system that you can buy, all right, it's designed for plug and play installation on the E39. Okay, I've done that in my 525i. I love the results. Now, audio wise, this one is a superior unit, I'm told. Extron system in my 525 last time I remember the audio was bad. Okay, but the sound quality wasn't good. But I like the way it looked. I also like the functionality that it gave to me. Okay, so you can see here the center console here is all in relatively good shape. This typically is a cup holder, retractable cup holder. Is gone. Okay, and this is why I said this particular car is special, because, well, this gear knob is ugly as hell, but this is a 523i with a 5-speed manual transmission, and we have checked against the VIN number. This car left the factory with a manual transmission, so it is not a convert manual. This is an original 5-speed manual 523i 2.5. Here's the ashtray. Oh, look at this. Look at the overspray. There's overspray marks here that's consistent with the trim piece. That means that this was previously resprayed. No wonder. This looks like a trim I've never seen before, but well, somebody along the way resprayed this piece. And what I would say is, well, at least kudos lah. The quality of the spray across all the panels are consistent. The workmanship of the spraying is decent. This is what a lot of people call the M Sport center console. So this one slides forward and back, but you can't lift it up. Okay, there's no storage under here. Okay, it just slides forward and backward with this little tray here. That's it. This one also, the sliding lid here for this particular car is gone, but this is a very cheap fix. Okay, and there are options in the market available where you can take this out and replace it with a cup holder. I have one in my car myself, whereby mine is a pop-up cup holder from Rendition. You guys can go check it out. I think it's a lovely modification to do in the car. All right, so yeah, I think overall the interior quality of this example is terrific. And this cabin in its current condition, the only thing that I would want to fix, this and this. So as car enthusiasts, we all dream of being able to enjoy our cars to the fullest, and to be able to do that, we must have the finances in place to take care of things like monthly installments, your fuel, and also maintenance. Now, if we are to depend solely on one source of income to cover all that, then maintaining a car feels incredibly expensive. So this is the reason why I'm now working with Team Infinity Academy, where I not only have access to better tools and strategies to more effectively manage my finances, but also a business opportunity that costs little to get started, practically no running costs, and most importantly, complete with systems and processes that will allow you to start making money from day one. So if you're interested to find out more, there is a link to a form in the description section. Fill it up and I'll be in touch with more information regarding this opportunity. Right now, I'm looking for 3 people to launch a new team with by the end of this month, and with any luck, you and I can be business partners in this exciting project. And now, back to the video. All right, so compared to the E39 that I'm familiar with, the 520i 2.2, which coincidentally also has 170 horsepower, this guy here is totally different. In fact, a few years back, I had the chance to try out one of my friend's 523i, same engine as this one, 523i double one-os, right? And yes, despite sharing the same 170 horsepower, I distinctly remember, well, the 2.5 liter 523i, it was just that bit more effortless off the line compared to my 2.2. So here with a manual transmission, this was the days before the ZF 8-speed and all that, right? This was a time when there was a significant performance gap between manual and automatic transmission. Now, granted, the automatic transmission of the E39 was a pretty good auto for its time. But at that time, automatic transmission technology has not matured at the level it has today. The torque converters from those days, they really sap power from the car. Now, granted, the previous time I experienced an E39 manual, that car had a 3-liter engine with 230 horsepower. Here, right now, in this 2.5 with 170, I hardly feel slow in comparison. So this sort of reinforces a little suspicion that, a little belief that I had, is that the E39 gives you a different kind of enjoyment, a different level of enjoyment when you experience it with a manual transmission. My challenge with driving this car is that for some reason the gear linkages here is extremely tight. So if any of you, if whoever of you give this car a new home, I would highly recommend checking the gear linkages, because finding the right gear sometimes is a challenge. The last E39 manual that I drove, Syed's car, that car was much easier to shift gears compared to this one. Okay, but still, this package, 2.5 liter 5-speed manual, for any driving enthusiast, it is a very compelling offer. You see, thing is that right now, previously when I talked about the 530i manual, that car is a challenge for some because 2,100 ringgit per year road tax. But here, 2.5 liter engine, road tax is about 870 plus, all right, and you still enjoy pretty decent performance. Like right now, I'm pulling third gear past 5,000 RPM, and the engine is just so eager and raring to go. Oh my god. Woo! Fantastic. It's just so much joy. I'm getting so much joy revving this engine. The way this particular car is set, now I'm not a fan of the lowered look, but I will say this. For a car that's running on Bilstein B8s, the ride is pretty comfortable. I'm just not sure what springs it is on. I'm going to guess it's not HNR, because I previously experienced Bilstein B8 with HNR. Not a combo that I recommend if you like ride comfort. This car is still decently comfortable. The handling is fantastic. I would say that this car actually feels sharper than mine. So yeah, if you're on the lookout for an E39, okay, and you like yours with a manual transmission, this particular unit is finding a new home. Now, I will tell you this, condition wise, it's not 10 out of 10 perfect, but it is buy and drive. One of the things that this car needs to fix, from what I see, engine and gearbox feels healthy, suspension feels good, but I would change it back to original M Sport or comfort suspension, just to get a proper ride height back for the car. The BMW badges at the front and back, day needs to be refreshed, that's a very relatively small thing to do. I'm not a fan of that hanging reverse camera. I would probably change that too. I would change the gear knob. I would change the head unit. But basically, that's it. Everything else in this car is practically in buy and drive condition. All you need is just a couple of touch-ups, and this is a car that will turn heads. And best of all, it is a spec that is extremely rare, extremely desirable in the context of the Malaysian market. Now, in overseas market, yes, you want the 530i or the 540i. But in Malaysia, the 2.5 liter models have a special place because of our road tax. Okay, 2.5 liter road tax is 874 versus what, 1,006 for 2.8, 2,001 for the 3.0. So 2.5 at the head, 874 ringgit makes a lot of sense for most enthusiasts. And this one here with a 5-speed manual. So to sum up, right, this particular unit of the E39 is a car with a highly, I would say, a highly desirable spec with some minor touch-ups, and this would be an absolute head turner. So to find out more about this car, there's a link in the description section. You can reach out to me on Telegram, and yeah, can arrange an appointment for you to view this car. All right, so that's it from me today. Until my next video, take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon.